Yeah, it's obviously different, scheme, and he's going to bring in all his philosophies and do all that. So it's good to get obviously started on it, yesterday and get working on it and get, kind of familiar with the stuff they want to do. They play good, sound defense, and, their understanding of, I think, what beats them, and they do some different things on third down to confuse you. And so they got some good pressures that we're going to have to pick up and be, on point with, and make sure that I'm sure we'll see something different or something that somebody's beat us on before, or something we haven't necessarily seen or worked on, and we'll have to be able to make adjustments in the game and pick that stuff up.
You have to have the same approach. I think maybe it was like Seattle, where it's like, hey, you have to be patient, take what's given. Is that what their defense is, keep everything in front of them? Yeah,
they do a really good job of it. They do a good job of their backers getting up in there to help stop the run, and when they realize it's play action, they turn around and haul butt. Sorry, out of there. So they do a good job. You definitely got to take what they give you, which we kind of want to think about. Thinking like that going into every game. If we get a shot or something down the field, let's take it if we have it. But if not, let's be efficient and get completions and move the ball.
Blake, first playoff game for a quarterback, big deal. You embrace it, ignore it. How do you think first?
I think personally, treat it normal. Go through the week normal. The routine and everything will stay the same. And then when you get the opportunity, it's obviously, I think, going to feel a little different. Playing a playoff game in Jacksonville, I think, hasn't happened in a while. So to have that opportunity to play in front of our fans in our city, in our stadium, I think is awesome. So I think that the emotions and the energy in the stadium will probably be a little heightened. But I think as far as what happens between the lines, I'd imagine it's similar. It's probably, maybe a little amped up a little bit. I think everybody kind of realizes that it's your last chance. You lose, you go home, it's over. So there's no reason or no excuse to not play as hard as you can every single play. So I think our guys do that on a weekly basis anyway. So I'm excited to go out there, and I know we are for this opportunity.
Blake, you talked about you getting ripped by opposing players before. A lot of time, like, you don't pay attention to it. Have you always been able to do that? Have you always been able to kind of throw that stuff away?
Yeah.
Back in high school?
Yeah. I don't know. The players or peers talking about you is a little new. I've never been somebody that thought that was the way you should handle things, but guys are different. I had a chance, fortunate enough, to play for George O'Leary in college, and playing for Coach O'Leary, you learn very quickly how to take criticism. So I had 4 years of practice doing that. So there's nobody that can say anything worse to me than he did.
How many times did George sing this song?
Oh, daily. I got benched every other day.
Is it something though that bothers people that are close to you more than it bothers you?
Yeah, probably. I'm sure I have family and stuff that are, all over social media and doing all that, and, can't help but see some of it. And I know it makes them mad, because I don't think anybody would want, a loved one or a friend or a family member being talked about in a negative light, by somebody else that is, playing against them or whatever. So, I've talked to, my close family and close friends, and, they understand how I feel about it and know that it doesn't bother me. And I think, they do their best to try and, do the same.
Do you want them not to lash out?
Yeah, they make their own decisions. They can if they want. I don't care. They can do whatever they want. I know how I handle it, and how I'm able to, I guess, ignore that stuff and focus on, I think, what's important, and find ways to keep winning football games.
Have you found it easy this year to separate what's going on this week with what's going on with the option after the season?
Yeah, and I think a big part of it is I don't, probably bet I should know more about it, but I don't know anything about any of that stuff. I'd have to sit down and have a talk with my agent to explain, what all that consists of. I know they picked it up, and there's some decisions to be made or whatever when the season's over. But my goal is to play football in Jacksonville for as long as they'll let me, and in order to do that, we got to win football games. So that's kind of how I am able to, make sure I'm focused on, what's the priority.
Blake was out on Sunday.
Say it again.
How was Hearns?
Awesome. I mean, he was just as he always has been. He's in the right spots at the right time. He's huge, and especially in away games and kind of environments like that where noise is an issue. He's really good, helping the other receivers out. Because me and him have been together for a while, so there's signals and different stuff that me and him are kind of able to communicate with that maybe some of the other guys haven't seen before or didn't remember. It's a random thing that we kind of are able to just communicate like that, so he can help other guys out and with what they're doing. And then obviously he made a couple plays that were big.
Is he sort of special in terms of the moment never really seems too big for him, and it never really has here?
Yeah, no, not at all. I think, and maybe it's part of who he played big time college football at Miami and came in as an undrafted free agent, and from the start made plays. So I don't think, kind of like you said, it was never too big of a moment for him, or was he taken back by the stage or anything. He's always showed up and done his job and played as hard as he could.
Blake, you've had 4 years now. Just kind of observe what the interaction that pauses have with other guys on the defensive side of the ball. Could you talk a little bit about what your feelings are about him, impressions, and has there ever been an occasion where maybe he's helped you in some regard?
I think Paul is, if you could create or sculpt a football player out of a piece of marble, it would be Paul Posluszny. The way that dude's built, and I think his personality and his character is incredible. I think the things that I know him and Telvin are extremely tight and have a really good relationship. I'm sure he's been a mentor type figure for Telvin. I know anything that I have football related or off the field, he's a guy that you can talk to for sure. That'll shoot you straight and give you, every bit of information he can to try and help you out. Since I've been here, he's been, he's been a guy that he's when he's playing, it's he's going to go out there and have double-digit tackles and give absolutely everything he can. I don't think there's a whole lot of times you see guys that have played in the league for as long as he has, playing on special teams and doing all that stuff. He truly is a team-first guy, and it's impressive to watch, and it obviously rubs off on everybody around him.
Blake, you mentioned
There's been a lot of guys in the locker room and they use the word calm about you, regardless of the situation. Do you think you'll have a hard time staying calm at all Sunday because of the situation? And also, how much does that attribute help with all the young guys around you right now?
Right. I think yeah, I will be able, to continue to be like that. I don't, expect a change or expect the stage or a playoff game to, kind of alter my mentality or how I go about playing the football game. And I think it's been big, obviously, with some injuries at wide receiver we've had this year that, because there's going to be times where those guys mess up. They've played, Didi's played, 10 games in the NFL or maybe less than that. Keelan and Mick and these guys are young and haven't played a whole lot of football in the NFL. So I think to be able to kind of have that calming voice of, rather than getting mad, there's guys that are going to yell at them when they mess up. That, coaches and stuff do that, and and that's fine. But I think there needs to be a sense of calm, understanding, what you did wrong, let's correct it, and then I think a little bit, also kind of still giving those guys confidence of, let's get on the same page. We're okay. I'll keep giving you shots, keep throwing you the ball, and trying to keep them on track and keep them from, I guess, kind of getting a little haywire mentally.
Like, what do you think 7-year-old Blake Bortles was doing the last time the Jags had a home playoff game?
7-year-old, I don't know, playing ding-dong ditch in the neighborhood.
First grade?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Is it kind of wild to think about? It's been that long since it's happened here?
Yeah, it is. I think that there's obviously been, some of the original teams with Fred, Mark, and Jimmy, and Keenan, and those guys, and Tony. Being so close to home, I knew of those guys and heard of them, and you watched them and all that, and then it was just kind of, you didn't hear a whole lot about the Jaguars for a while. So I think to kind of be a part of the group of guys that, is changing the culture, is changing the perception of the Jaguars on a national level is pretty cool, and I've enjoyed every bit of it.
You went tempo a little bit last week for the first time. Did you like some of the looks you got there if you wanted to do it this week?
Yeah, we've talked about it all year long, and it was something that we've been successful in some 2-minute situations, and knew we had the ability to do it. And I think it was a little bit of let's take some basic stuff out there and get to the line. And I think for one, it kind of simplifies us, but I think it also kind of simplifies what they can do. If we're not subbing, they can't sub, so they can't get different guys out there. And for the most part, teams usually don't dial up some wild blitzes when you're on the ball and in no huddle. So I think from that standpoint, it did help. We got some basic looks, and I thought everybody was on the same page, and I think it's definitely something that we'll have in our back pocket, and know we can break it out when we need it.
Is there any specific Jaguar game that you can actually remember watching when you were a little kid?
No. There's not a specific one. Oh, well, what was it? Not the AFC Championship, right? It was when they played Denver, when they went to Denver?
96?
Yeah. I watched that game.
How old were you?
Like 96? I was 4. I remember that well. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.